What is going on? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the Fit Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Luis Medrano. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how you didn't gain fat over the weekend. Guys, let's put this to rest once and for all. If you've ever struggled with this, because I know it has been a struggle for me in the past where, you go hard all week, you're great on your diet, you follow your meal plan, and then come Friday, Saturday, sometimes even Sunday, you fall off. You maybe have a couple of drinks, you go out to eat, there's a social event, and these things happen, which then you get on the scale on Monday morning, and guess what? It looks like you gained some weight, right? Well, the number went up, the number goes up on the scale, and this leads to it kind of messes with your mind, right? And I know I've struggled with this before where you see the number go up and you feel like you have failed and all that work you've put in the previous week was for nothing, right? And this is simply not the case. We're going to put that to rest in this live and in this episode once and for all, guys. Put your mind at ease because if you've ever struggled with this, let's go ahead and settle this once and for all, guys. So let's reassure you once and for all that the scale might have gone up, right? It's completely normal, right? If the number went up on the scale, just understand that it is not fat gain. And I mean, if it's gonna be fat gain, I mean, you had to have eaten a lot of food. And I'm talking about, I mean, 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. This means that to gain 1 pound of fat, you have to have eaten over 3,500 calories above your maintenance. So if your maintenance is, say, 2,000 calories to maintain your current weight, that means you ate 5,500 calories to gain a pound over in one day. That's very hard to do. And most likely 99% of the time, guys, it's not the case and it's not fat gain. The scale did go up. Yes, the number went up, but understand that it's not fat gain. It doesn't mean you gained fat and all that work you've been putting in the previous week of being on your diet and sticking to your diet was not wasted, guys. Fluctuations in body weight are 100% normal. And when you are on a fitness journey, specifically a weight loss journey, it's never going to be just a linear downward line that goes all straight down perfectly day after day after day until you reach your goal. It's going to be more like peaks and valleys, right? You'll have weight gain, weight drop, weight gain, weight drop. But when you zoom out and you look at the bigger picture, you look at the 12 weeks, 6 months, 12 months, or however, whatever the time frame happens to be, right? When you look at the bigger picture, overall, if you're doing things right and you're being as consistent as you can, I'll say about 80%, right? Is a magic number. Then you will see a downward trend. And within, when you zoom into that downward trend, right, is when you see the little fluctuations, right? The weight goes up, weight goes down, weight goes up, weight goes down. But overall, you will see a downward trend and you will reach your weight loss goal as long as you stay consistent, right? So a little bit about why this happens, guys. Why is it that you happen to just fall off over the weekend and next thing you know, on Monday morning, your weight is higher than what it was on Friday? Well, there's numerous factors at play here, guys. And I'm not going to get into like the science behind it. I'm not going to break down the science, but just a couple of basic things to understand fundamentals of what really happens and what goes on, why your weight fluctuates, and why things that I didn't understand in the past, which now that I understand, when I do see my weight change and go up and down, I don't fret about it. I just know it's part of the journey. Just keep doing your work, keep putting in the work every single day. And I know that over time, I'm going to reach my goal, whether it's fat loss or whether I'm trying to put on weight in the case of muscle gain, right? So number one is water retention. Your body's going to hold on to water naturally. It's part of its bodily process, right? When you eat carbs, for example, your body's going to hold on to a little extra water. When you have a really tough workout at the gym, your body could hold on to a little bit of extra water the next day to kind of to help repair your muscles and recuperate, right? When you have sodium like salt, when you increase your salt intake, maybe you had a meal that had extra salt, maybe you had, extra salt in your food that weekend, water retention through sodium intake is going to happen too. If I drink a jug of water, a quart of water that weighs a pound, just like that, in a matter of minutes, I just put on a pound, right? By drinking that water. So that's going to be something that changes the way your body weighs, your body weight, right? Just those things alone. Digestion and normal bodily process, guys, can change your weight from one day to the next. Maybe you had a meal later than usual on a given night, and then when you weigh yourself first thing in the morning, because your meal timing was different, all these things are at play here, guys. So the weight's going to go up. You'll see it go up, but the message here is don't fret about it. It's not fat gain. It doesn't mean like if the number is say 2 pounds heavier on Monday morning than what it was Friday, let's just say as an example, you didn't gain 2 pounds of fat. You're not 2 pounds fatter. You just have all these things that went on over the weekend that caused fluctuations in your weight, right? So don't fret about it. Put your mind at ease once and for all and understand it's part of the process, right? Again, when you zoom out and you take a look at the bigger picture, the long-term, um, you know, 4 months, 6 month picture, overall, if you're putting in the work as consistent as you can, you will see a trend of your weight going down or whatever your goal happens to be, guys. So, this tends to be an emotional game you're playing here, a psychological game. It's more weight loss and fitness is more than just, the physical aspect of it. It is a mental game. It's a mental and emotional game. And keeping your emotions as much as possible, like out of it with where you're going up and down emotionally is going to be a big game changer. And so you avoid the feeling guilty and shame, committing to it all over again, and then feeling guilty and shame, and just doing this loop over and over, week in and week out, where you're doing great, and then there's guilt and shame. You're doing great, and there's guilt and shame, and you really never get nowhere. And many people just quit because, oh, it's not working. It didn't work out for me. I tried it and it didn't work. It's because the mental game and the psychological aspect of it is not dialed in, right? And so we often, not just vegans, not just plant-based foodies like us, right, but other people, and no matter the diet, this tends to be the trend and what can happen at times where people fall into this loop of guilt and shame, and the number went up, and all of a sudden their emotional disposition is just totally different because the number on the scale, or even worse, there's anxiety around the scale. I don't want to step on the scale today. Or I know I've dealt with that before where I know I've messed up a few days in a row, and I've avoided the scale at least for a couple of days. I'm like, I'm going to wait till I get back on it, and then I'll get back on the scale, right? If that's been you, it's totally normal. We've all gone through it. But just we got to get our emotions in check when it comes to this process, because it is a big mental game as well as a physical aspect of it, right? It's not just about the way your body looks and the physical part of it, but also the mental aspect, the psychological game. We want to avoid being in that guilt and shame loop, which happens after we eat clean and then we fall off and the number changes on the scale, right? So we want to avoid that, guys. And to actually put on the fat and the weight, right? It's got to be a calorie surplus over time. It's not going to happen over 2 days. It's not going to happen over a weekend, right? Unless you went totally crazy, which is very difficult to do. You're not going to do that in 2 days, right? Maybe you had extra sodium, extra water, like I explained earlier, right? It's not going to happen in a matter of 2 days. You have to have you have to consistently over a period of time, say like weeks, where you're consistently eating more calories than your body burns to actually put on weight, to actually put on fat, to be more specific in this case, right? So it's all about being in calorie surplus, meaning you're eating more food than your body burns. And so that's how you put on weight, but it happens over time, guys. It's not going to happen in a weekend. Now, if you're doing this, during the week, and then say in a given, 60 days, like 40 of those days happen to be where you're eating in a calorie surplus, meaning you're eating more food than your body burns, then you are putting on fat. If that number has gone up on the scale, it's body fat because you're eating more than you burn, right? So it's going to happen over time. And here's the beauty of the plant-based diet, right? And the vegan diet is that it's easy to, on a plant-based diet, really any diet that's well planned, but especially with the plant-based diet, because we tend to focus heavily on high fiber, nutrient dense foods like vegetables, greens, fruits, grains, lean proteins like tofu, seitan, and even protein powder as a supplement, right? It's easy to have what I call volume eating or power bowls where you fill your plates. I did an episode yesterday on the beauty of volume eating, how as on a vegan diet, you get to eat a lot of food for a low amount of calories, but high fiber, high nutrients, right? And so the beauty is that you can enjoy a weight loss journey where you see results eating a lot of food without feeling deprived, without feeling restricted, right? That's the beauty of being on a plant-based diet, right? And you get to structure your meals in this way in order to see results and see change in the scale in the direction that you want it to go. So that's what makes it cool about being on a vegan diet. So I highly, highly recommend you go check out my other episodes. If you're not already following me on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, Luis_R Medrano, I post a lot of videos, a lot of reels on how to get fit as a vegan, as a plant-based foodie, eating high volume meals that provide high fiber, high protein, and promote fat loss, right? Of course, everybody's different. Well, everybody's going to need their own specific amounts based on your body type and everything. But the advice that I give can help you get the results that you're seeking. Just go check out my pages if you haven't, or the other episodes of the Fit Foodie Podcast, guys. So let's jump quickly into, as we kind of head to the tail end of this episode in this live here, let's jump it quickly into how you can respond versus react, right? And the difference. So we always think of, for example, when you take medication, if your body is reacting to the medication, it's typically not a good thing. Your body had a reaction, something bad happened, you got nauseated, or you got sick, or something happened with your tummy or whatever, right? You had a reaction. Versus if your body is responding to the medication, then that means something good is going on. You're feeling better, you're alleviated from whatever was the problem in the first place, right? So it's all about responding. So when weight fluctuations do happen, try to avoid reacting, because a lot of times we get emotional. Reaction are emotional, right? You feel down, you feel demotivated, and all this stuff just kind of puts you in a mood where you feel like, whatever, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want, or I'm done, it didn't work out for me, right? Let's focus instead on responding. So again, first of all, have the knowledge that I'm sharing in this episode with you to understand that the number that went up is not weight gain, it's not fat gain, I should say. Respond with just saying, all right, it's a new day, it's a new week. I'm going to get back on my meal plan. I'm going to eat my food that I'm going to eat today. I'm going to do my workout that I have planned for today or for this week, and just get on it, guys. Be as consistent as you can. You don't need to be perfect every day. I preach the 80%. If you can do in a given 30-day month, 24 out of 30 days is 80%. If you're consistent 24 out of 30 days, you're going to see results quicker. Of course, the more the better, but 24 or 30 is really all you need most of the time, right? So you want to be consistency over trying to be perfect week in, week out, right? Don't worry. If you had a weekend where you just went out, had some drinks, or ate out and fell off your meal plan, who cares? Get back on it, because consistency matters more than perfection, right? So just continue where you left off. Keep putting in the work every day, week in, week out, and you will get the results that you want, guys. So I want to wrap this up with just a little encouragement and words of encouragement for you, so that if you've ever struggled with this can be the episode that puts this all to rest once and for all. Is try to think of the scale instead of being anxious over the scale and getting on the scale and seeing the number on the scale. Just think of it as a piece of information. That's all it is. It's a piece of information that you're simply going to track, whether you're using an app or writing it down. It's just a piece of information. It's not determining who you are as a person or what kind of success you're seeing, in this area of your life. It's just a data point, and it allows you to make decisions based on that information. Just see it as information, guys. Understand that as long as you're putting in the work, as I mentioned, as consistent as you can, over time, you're going to see results, guys. So if you've ever had this issue, guys, I hope this episode has cleared things up for you, and You won't feel anxious about getting on the scale or using the scale. It's a great tool, I think, on any weight loss journey or any fitness journey. And that if you've ever struggled with weight fluctuations and being emotional about all that, now you know that if you gain weight over the weekend, it's not fat. Okay. Weight fluctuations are completely 100% normal. Guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you found it useful and helpful. I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Have an amazing, amazing day. My name is Luis Medrano. This is the Fit Foodie Podcast, the place for plant-based foodies that want to get fit, lose weight, and elevate their lives. I help vegans get fit. You're in the right place if that is you. Guys, peace, love, and I'll talk to you next time.